Boom.
Boom shakalaka.
There it is right there. Boom shakalaka. Welcome back, folks. How is everyone doing tonight, man? Do we got a good one for you? We have the team from FINU Crypto Project, founder Ryan Welsh and team lead Bobby with us tonight. Ryan, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Oh
Doing
man,
good,
I
doing
tell you.
good.
Yeah, absolutely. Bobby, how about you, brother? You having a good night tonight?
Outstanding, brother. Outstanding. Thanks for having us.
Well, that's great. I tell you, I don't know if it's just me or I don't think my mouth is moving, but I feel like it's moving. Man, oh man. We're talking
It
about
doesn't look
latency
like it's
before we
moving.
came in, and it was fine until, well, I guess I just put my foot in the mouth. But all right, well, there it is. I feel like I want to be off screen, but it is what it is. This is live and coming to you right from Houston, Texas, of course. Ryan, Bobby, where are you guys out of?
I'm out of Salt Lake City, Utah.
Man,
Yeah,
all right. Beautiful out there. Bobby, what about you, brother?
I am right outside of little old Providence, Rhode Island.
Man, I tell you, both beautiful places. God bless the USA. I tell you, we got so many good, beautiful states out there. You guys got to check it out if you guys are watching this international. And certainly, we appreciate you all joining us live. Of course, if you're not joining us live, we appreciate you just the same. Just glad you guys are tuning back in. So, I tell you what, though, we want to talk about all the good that is going on in the FINU project, but as usual, we want to start off with the Bitcoin chart. So let me go ahead and pull that up, and hopefully this latency thing just is a thing of past, goes away. Let me know when you guys see this up here. Bear with me for a moment. All right, so how's that look, folks?
We see it.
Coming in good? Well, I'm glad you could see it. I wonder if that latency is going away. What we're looking at here is, well, we're going to switch this up because I want to blow this thing out a bit. We're currently looking at the one day chart on this, and as you can see, we were on that downward wedge, and then eventually this thing did pop off. Now we've had a bit of a retracement, as you guys can see over the past, well, call it 2 weeks or so, and it's been fairly steady, but I think the question, though, is this thing going to go ahead and continue to head back down? Now, I feel like, well, the future is bright in the space. Now, Ryan, I'm curious. So, what are your thoughts on this? Is this thing going sideways, moving forward? Is it going to go ahead and continue down, down, down?
No, I mean I don't know. I think this all centers around the ETF and
Mm,
what's going on there. And so I think we've got a lot of whales and institutions out there um, playing the chart, playing Bitcoin. But I think once that settles down, I think we're just gonna keep on trucking back to all time high. You know what I mean? But the SEC's got to they've just got to give some clarity, and then they have to hook up all their friends at Goldman Sachs and BlackRock, and once
mm.
all the land is divided, I think we start to see a more natural Bitcoin.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of talk about what's going on in the ETF space and whether or not that is going to actually pan out. I feel like there are two ways that this can happen, in my opinion. Of course, anything that we're saying here tonight, folks, is never financial advice. But of course, you have the ETFs as long as our friend Gary at the SEC allows this to go through. I wonder though if he is going to buy his time so that we have more of a digital currency in place before that happens. Bronze, what do you think? ETF, digital currency, which comes first?
Yeah, I mean ETFs. It's where you have all these institutions filing for it. Like we said a couple weeks ago, like with BlackRock. Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, specifically says that Bitcoin could revolutionize the financial system. I mean, if that's not bullish, I don't know what is. Um, I mean, just like what Ryan says, Gary got to divvy up his friends and all that, and I wouldn't be surprised if Larry is one of them. But all these big institutions are positioning themselves, and it's really writing on the wall. I mean, if you see some massive dips or whatever, it's like that saying is buy the dip. Uh, you know, right now, past couple of weeks, it's been steady at 30K, and honestly, I kind of I like that. I don't, volatility. I need a break from volatility. So as long as it doesn't like go far down, I'm good at 30K. And yeah, we know it's gonna pump. I mean, like I said, the end of 2024 is gonna be rocking. So uh, people just not financial advice, but for me, it's accumulation time, baby.
There it is. To the
To the
moon.
moon. Yeah.
Bobby, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with everybody. Start again too with not financial advice, but I think that all of the outside noise has really done a number on things right now. I think that obviously there's all of that comes into effect between the ETF and awful funny how they didn't like the wording or the description, and they've already refiled, so that's all good news and bullish. I love it. I think we're headed upward and onward soon enough. Just keep accumulating.
Is right. And no one's got a crystal ball. Who the heck knows where we're going to go? But I think we all agree that crypto is here to stay. So, I with everything that's going on, especially as you had said, the volatility. I think I saw something earlier today that we lost somewhere around 136 million due to liquidity, and those are folks that are leveraging. Right, that's a very risky play, but some folks are here for that. They love those insane face melting highs and those very depressing lows. But I don't know ETFs. Anything, Ryan? What do you think? You feel like we're going to see that ETF this year?
Oh, I don't know. I think so. I mean, it's going to go as fast as Uncle Gary wants to make it happen, right? Like we could be approved next week. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on at that level. I mean, I don't think any of us do, but whatever's happening at the highest echelons of government and financial institutions, I think it's going to be timed. There's going to be some sort of predetermined timing to these ETFs, the spot, and aren't there two that are being filed? Right?
Yeah,
There's two.
That's right. You have one getting pushed out through Fidelity, and I want to say the other one's BlackRock, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to look that up.
Yeah, I mean,
It's BlackRock.
I don't know what they're going to do to trigger that, but for sure, I mean, it's going to be centered around some sort of event where that can happen, and everyone that can take first mover advantage has that. And I don't know. I mean, I feel like we know how this goes ever since the institutions jumped in a few years ago, right? It's like we've seen this play out over and over.
Yeah, for sure. That's it. And it's the same old story, isn't it? I think as long as we are able to kind of hold on tight, get those diamond hands and hodl, we're going to be able to see the next bull run. And it is going to be very much face melting. We've seen it once before, twice before, and we've lived through those winters, and they're painful. But winters, just like anything else, end. So this is something that'll happen, and man, I tell you, it's good to have folks that actually kind of seen and sit through those on with us, because I feel like when you're first coming into this can be almost heartbreaking if you came in even, I don't know, call it a year ago. We've been going down, down, and then we had this kind of upward angle up for a little while, and now it's coming back down. Everyone's saying, well, the bull run's here. Winter is over. I mean, maybe they're right. I feel like they are. It's certainly warmed up a lot since, late November. So we'll have to see how this all plays out. Now, one of the things that just was brought up was looks like, as you had humbly said, Uncle Gary. Let me pull this up here. Uncle Gary seems to be taking aim at a few more exchanges. I'm not surprised. Let's pull this up here. So this is coming from Reuters. This was yesterday. SEC takes aim at crypto platforms as unregistered exchanges. Well, surprise, surprise. Because they seem to be flipping and choosing what are, first off, registered assets and unregistered assets. Now they're going after exchanges altogether. You think we're going to see more of this there, Ryan?
Yeah. Let me touch on a point from just minutes ago is the market coming back and having net inflows, right? Well, the Fortune 500s and any other like major fintech player right now. I mean, for about 2 years, but especially the last year and a half for sure, there's been this massive drive and this massive push by banks and really just any FI or financial institution for onboarding, like on ramping, off ramping. How do we create this seamless experience to get mom to put money into this? And so I know Visa, Plaid, MasterCard, there's probably 4 or 5 more heavy hitters in there building this. And so I think once those rails, those financial rails get laid and they're put in place, that once it's easy for mom to get in, then the money comes in. I mean, that's where it's at. So right now in the US, we have 55 million wallets, but we know that's probably only like 8 million people at most.
Right.
It's just, so when we think about the adoption, right, it could be huge. But then back to what Tex said when I jumped in. What were we talking about? CBDCs? What was it?
Yeah, it was the SEC takes aim at crypto platforms.
Exchanges. You know why? Because at the end of this, when everything washes out, there's probably only 2 to 3 exchanges standing that can operate in the US. I would say at most, as far as the ones that exist now. I think you're going to be left with Coinbase, and I think they already know how this is going to work out. I feel like everyone should know, which is Coinbase is already being set up to be king. They have banter and they're lobbing grenades back and forth, but at the end, I'm willing to bet you see Coinbase on top. You'll start to see their board filled with Goldman and SEC people and presidential cabinet members, and it's sort of the recipe that they have.
Right.
And so, I mean, I hate talking about that, like getting into like it's sub conspiracy, but when you're in crypto long enough, like I've been in since 2011, like you've been along for the ride, like you know what you're staring at. And so I think we end up with Coinbase. I think we're probably left with Kraken and crypto.com.
Right. And crypto.com are they supposedly they're Singapore based, right?
Yeah, but as far as like who can operate here, right?
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Because they just throw around so much money. I think by volume, aren't they like number 3?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Right.
Yeah. So they'll find their way in.
Why do you think that? I mean, are they playing charades, or I mean, with the shenanigans with the SEC suing Coinbase?
I mean, it's up to the SEC as the or the government as the plaintiff, right? It's up to them to decide when they drop charges, what sort of deal they're willing to make or accept.
Okay.
So in my opinion, and just from my experience and background, and being able to see things like this behind the scenes, I think they already kind of know where this ends.
Right.
The SEC and Coinbase, I think they already know, and I think we're pretty close. And if you notice the timing with Ripple,
Right.
and XRP,
Yes.
there's I think there's a lot of these things that sort of come to a head all at the same time. So if you're looking to take advantage of the market moving, I think if you can time ETFs to the XRP thing, to the Coinbase thing, all things resolve really close to each other. And you've already got all the financial institutions that have almost entirely laid the rails for mom to onboard. That, to me, just from totally being an outsider, I could see that. I mean, that's something that with the information I have, that's probably what I would try and time, right? Is these big major things all happening at once.
Yeah.
Once they are cleared, you see funds, just racing to get into the market.
That's some melt facing.
Yeah.
But I can see that happening. I can see that playing out with things happening all at once. That's gonna be crazy.
Well,
But
and Bitcoin, I mean, here's the thing is I think at the end of this, I think the majority of coins are going to get regulated into dust. I think everyone will be left holding nothing, except for, I think Bitcoin, it's obvious that they're rallying behind that. I think Ethereum is, it's close. It's a close second. But I don't think there's the same level of political and institutional support for Ethereum like there is Bitcoin. And again, I mean, Ethereum's just like AOL, right? Like they were first, they were biggest, and then someone else came along and dethroned them. And I think we're going to see the same thing with ETH at some point. But yeah, I mean, I think Bitcoin ends up just flying because you're going to weed out all these other options to put money into, right?
Right.
Yeah. I think honestly, I feel like, and the latency is still there on my end, so I apologize, folks, but I think that you're onto something, Ryan. And we were actually talking about this, Crypto Broads and myself, the other day. Institutions are going to rally behind Bitcoin. I feel like that's a certainty. Now, that's just a feeling based off of what we're seeing within the market movements. I think the question, though, is if Bitcoin is what they're going to rally behind, do the digital currencies follow next? I feel like the answer is yes. And I apologize that I step away if you spoke to that. But I wonder, though, what then, if it's not Ethereum, what will the transaction or what will that ledger be on?
XRP.
And then it would have to be.
No,
Oh,
you know what?
man.
Look, XRP's bullcrap. However, Ripple is arguably, I mean, I don't know. I feel like they're the hottest in fintech. If you keep up with them, they're just not in the U.S. really much at all. But I was dealing with them last year, and man, I think they're just doing some of the coolest stuff. But holders don't know that, right? They're like XRP price.
Yeah.
But Ripple Labs, man, they're doing some of the coolest stuff with money movement and cross-border transactions.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Ryan. The XRP army, they're one of the most conspiracy theory people out there. I mean, they connecting all these crazy dots. But yeah, it's I feel like they do some crazy research and
yeah. Well, my last gig at MasterCard, I was in charge of all the like AI and smart payment technologies globally, and so I was really pushing them hard into crypto and block and all that, and we were working on some really cool things. But our competitor was Ripple and Plaid and Visa, and so I got a really good perspective because I was dealing with CBDCs and Circle and government, all of that. So I got a really good handle. The further in time we go, because I'm not in that job anymore, the less impactful or relevant that information is. But But yeah, CBDCs, I don't think those come into play as quick as we think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to. I don't want to go too much over because we want to go over your project, but
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on Fed now. The in 2 weeks things are gonna get a little hectic. There's two bills supposedly that's due on July 19th, which is the stablecoin bill and the market structure bill.
Mm.
Stablecoin bill is, both parties, the Republican and Democrats, are working a framework, for stablecoin regulation, right? So that supposedly voting should happen on the 19th of this month, and then a market structure bill. It's a complex bill, but it's basically it's trying to push more clarity, right? It's with the SEC jurisdiction. When does that end, and when does the CFTC jurisdiction begin? So that's in progress right now, and supposedly that bill is supposed to be onto a vote on July 19th, and the day
Mm.
after is supposedly Fed Now, which is the Fed's payment system.
Yeah.
That's going to be in play in the day after. So man, it's July is going to be hot, like no
Yeah.
pun.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens with all this, but yeah, man, it's going to be interesting. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
record this. I know we are, but like reference what I'm about to say, which is 99% of tokens or even the concepts, they're going to get regulated into nothing. They will all end in zero. The
Yep.
only thing that will not end in zero is Bitcoin. I mean, even ETH could end in zero, but you're going to see it. It's going to happen. And so if you want to get access to like degen stuff, you're going to have to VPN out of the country and all that. And so I think all the degens will, but nothing will prevent that from happening. But I think for normies and the retail investor in the US, I think you're going to see where they're like, you can only put money into a couple. Yeah, but then once there's clarity, we're going to see all these projects pop up because they have a lane, right? They're like,
Right.
oh, okay, I can operate within here, and I can innovate within that sector, right?
In that structure.
So it'll be really good.
Definitely.
I mean, we can't avoid it, right? So let's look on the bright side. It'll be really good to push projects creating value for an investor,
Right.
which they don't do right now.
No.
Agreed.
I think, well, honestly, I feel like we've been saying the same thing. The current market is going to shift. We are going to see a large portion of it go away. And I wonder, though, if it's the overall narrative and mindset that we're all kind of thinking, because we've been here, we've seen the shifts, and we all kind of understand the direction in which we're headed towards, or if there's some validity here versus a narrative. And honestly, I agree with you 100%, Ryan. Here in the States, it has to have clarity. There is no way that the US and other entities, the G6, is going to allow it to remain in its current state. There is not going to be a shift in power. There is not going to be a shift in where all the large money or influx of money is going or who owns it. We are going to see it remain in the same hands that it always has been. And we need to be mindful of that. Get into Bitcoin. I feel like that's where you want to be. That's the safest bet. But you want the quick money? Sure. Go after the little ones. Go after where there's the potential for this to take off still. There's still time. But again, not financial advice, and that's just my 2 cents. So, and there's the latency. Son of a gun. I swear to you, it is not even close to being this bad.
Hey.
But it's clearly on my end because you guys look beautiful.
Has anybody ever asked you before the show about latency, or am I the first?
You're the first, buddy.
So of course, right?
Well, that's Murphy's Law, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, but again, you guys you don't look anything like Max Hendrum, but I certainly do. So, Well, let's get right into it.
Yeah.
Why don't we get into all the good that's going on in FINU and the project. Let me go ahead and pull up your website. And if you guys haven't checked these folks out, it's finucrypto.com. We'll pull it up here. Let me go ahead and pull it up on my end. Though I feel like if you wouldn't mind, Bronze, let me get you. Yeah,
I
pull it
got you.
up because I'm just concerned there's
Okay.
going to be a bit of a delay on my end, and
All
we don't
right.
want it to be slow on the screens.
Will do.
And let me pull Bobby back in. Bobby, welcome back. So now, of course, site looks awesome as usual. This is kind of more of the same that we're seeing. If you open up the side there, Bronze, you'll see. Of course, they talk about they have their menu there. But if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and pull up. Let's just kind of go through this. If you wouldn't mind, we're going to go ahead and start off. Let's go through this. Yes, please. So we have, of course, you guys are currently being traded on Uniswap. I feel like most of the projects we run into, almost all, if they're here on Ethereum, which you guys are, um, Binance. How do you guys feel about Binance? Just curious.
Um, I I don't really have anything to say about him. I mean, I think CZ as far as a person, I think he's stellar at business. He's playing the game and doing a great job. You know, um, at staying alive and fighting, right? Throwing elbows out for his territory, which he should do. But outside of that, I just look, they're what, number one, number two, neck and neck with Coinbase, and they've got the volume. So as a project, uh, I mean, it's a no brainer to go list on Binance, um, you know, if you can. And, but I haven't been on there in years. I haven't been on Binance, and Binance US is like the trailer park version of uh, Binance.
Yeah.
So that's a non-option. But Snoop, what do you think about Binance, man?
Snoop, you with
Yeah.
us? Maybe he's
Yeah, no, we had a little bit of buffering. I got cut out a couple of times, guys. I apologize. But yeah, Binance, I would, if they said, "Hey, we see what you're doing over there, Brand Coin, you know, we want to list you," I would definitely have nothing against it. And I do. I think that CZ is playing the game. He's a heck of a businessman, and we need ambassadors for the space. We need to push forward. We need to show value, and we need to fight, throw the elbows for what we believe in, and actually deliver some utility and value. And I think there are a lot of teams that are starting to really recognize that and push forward and fight for that. So
You know, that's
yeah,
one reason, Tex, why we're not anywhere except Uniswap. Like we get asked this all the time, and the answer is obviously like I don't need to like keep it a secret. What project wouldn't say this? But we're we're planning for onboarding exchanges, central exchanges. We've talked to a few of them. We have things prepped, but we've been in that position for 5 months, 6 months. Um, because I'm actually the one holding it up on the team because we don't know what's going to happen to these exchanges, and so I don't want our tokens just that's just so much chaos, right? I just don't want that.
Yeah.
So I think when the dust settles and we know who can play, which sexes and where, then that's when you see FINU just onboard. We're only going to touch top tens. We won't onboard anything less.
yeah. You know, honestly, it's a smart play. I feel
It's a
like,
play. Yeah.
and Bronze and I are very, very familiar with what's going on in that space because we do have, we've, well, we've had our own project on Hotbits, in fact, and I don't know if you guys know, but Hotbit is now out,
Mm-hmm.
and it hurts. You know, it's like you spend a significant amount of the project's money to get onto the exchange and hope that there are enough eyes on there to keep the project going forward and to the moon. and then in exchange she gets blown out. And
Yeah.
it's just so you're doing right by your community
Yeah,
by
just keep on
taking it
building
slow.
it.
That's
Mhm.
it. That's
Keep on
right.
building
Yeah,
it.
I mean, on the crypto side, we're forced to take it slow, because I can't force anyone to buy in. But as far as building the project, I mean, we're full speed ahead because we're building a consumer product brand in real life, and so nothing stops us there. Fiat's coming in, and so that little machine has started to kick on, um, and so yeah, I mean, we're being very strategic about how we move forward with exchanges, with partners, really with everything, and we're doing our best. I'm sure we'll make a mistake. I'm sure we already have, but we've got a great team, really smart, and we counsel together on, I think, just about everything. Uh, so we end up, I think, with getting some pretty good decision making skills in the team and outcomes.
No, no, absolutely. Smart move. Take it slow. You want your moves to be calculated. That's really how the right businesses survive. So let's talk a little bit about tokenomics. You guys have a total supply of 1 billion. Is that right?
That's right. And it's not going to change. We will not burn anything ever. We don't offer staking. We won't, none of that stuff. But yeah, there's a billion. It's going to stay a billion.
That's awesome. Now, your taxes looks like you got what? 0% buy. Is that right?
Yeah, 0 buy, 5 sell. And I think we'll have taxes, for a while. Like I don't even know what a while is, but probably into next year, because the way that I know we're the first brand coin, but I'll just speak as though there's more. The way brand coins work is that we're using the taxes from the trading volume, to basically have a continuous